Welcome to November's lawn care calendar. In this video we're going to be looking at all the things that you can do in the month of November to keep your lawn looking in top shape. But first, let's take a little look around the garden to see how things are looking as we move into winter. It's Garden and Lawn Care Guy here for November's lawn care calendar. Now, as we're moving into November, you're going to be wanting to think about having the last cut of the year. The grass growth has really slowed down now, and the garden's starting to come to almost a state of dormancy. This is going to be a quick trim to take some of the tops off, and I might just get one more cut in before the end of November. If you're in the north of the country, the weather's going to be starting to really cool down, and you may well have already had the last cut of your season. As you move in towards the mids and the south of the country, you may get one or two more mows in the month of November. Just remember to increase the height of your mower and leave the grass a little bit taller. There's less light available at this time of year, and increasing the length of the lawn will improve its ability to take in that light and also help to crowd out some moss. You can see here some of the areas that just haven't quite taken as part of my autumn renovation project. I'm going to be taking a chance and throwing a few more seeds down, just fingers crossed, and hope the gaps fill in. If not, we're going to have to come back to those at spring. The other thing that is really important this type of year is to keep on top of leaf drop. If you've got any deciduous trees or leaves in your neighbourhood that might blow onto your lawn, you want to be taking these off your lawn because they will crowd out the plants and ultimately can cause the lawn to die off in spots. I also like to do a final edging pass of the lawn at this time of year. I've not really touched the edges since we did the autumn renovation, so they're pretty overgrown, and it's a great chance to combine the leaf collection and also cleaning up the edges, ready to seal the lawn off for the winter. I'm just using a standard pair of edging shears. I quite like the manual feel of using these tools. Some people use strimmers if you've got a bigger area, but I like to stick with the basics. As well as the lawn edges, you can also get the half moon tool out at this time of year. The grass should be nice and soft to work with and easy to cut some defined lawn edges. My ground's a little bit too wet to work on, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a trim and hopefully come back with the edger when I get some more dry weather. Coming up next, we're going to be looking at moss control, worm casts, and some of the other things that you can do in the month of November for the lawn. If you've got a relatively small area, I like to carry this little collapsible bucket round, just chuck the tidy ups in there, and it helps keep the borders nice and clean. I can also pull any weeds that are growing in the edges of the borders and just freshen everything up. If you're interested in any of the products that I'm using today, you can find them out in the description below or on my website, gardenandlawncareguide.com. When I'm pulling some of the borders, you can actually see some of the seeds that have spilt out into the borders from the overseeding, and also some weeds and different types of grasses. Let's take a bit of a closer look. You can see on the left hand side a more coarser type of grass, probably poa. Much thicker stems, and on the right hand side This will be one of the overseeded grasses that I used, and you can see the blades are much more finer. Some people ask me, how do you know the difference in terms of a weed grass and the grass that you want? Well, you can visually see here straight off from the appearance. Next up, we're looking at lawn aeration. Now, you don't generally want to be doing any hard works at this time of year. Any slitting or hollow core aeration is only going to put some holes in the turf and the soil surface, and that with frost can cause heave and cause uneven marks on the surface. If you do want to do any work, the only thing you can do is just some light pricking holes with the fork, and doing that, if you really late throwing some seed down, you can drop the seeds into those holes and it might give them a bit more security from the elements. But overall, you don't really want to be doing any type of hard works this time of year, and really the whole regime is working to a close. Something I wanted to show you, I picked myself up a little gadget, which is a rain gauge. It wasn't very expensive, I think less than £10. There's a link in the description below from Amazon, and I'm going to get this set up because I'm quite interested just to see on a month by month basis how much water is falling on the lawn. I know over the past couple of months we've been absolutely drowned with water, and it's really held me back on some of the results I hope to achieve from the autumn programme. Next up, we're going to be looking at moss control and even hardening off some of the turf for the overwintering. Now, moss is going to be a real big player on the lawn, especially if you haven't got a super healthy lawn or one that's going to be in shade with lots of water. Is ideal conditions for moss to grow. There's a couple of different ways you can treat moss, and generally it's around use of a product like iron sulfate. You want to be applying this at the higher dosage, which on this particular product shows turf hardening, and that's going to blacken off the moss and also harden off the turf. The first type of product similar to this is a mixable product where you measure out a certain amount, mix it with water, and you can apply it down on the lawn. You can also get a product like this in a pre-mix form, like a liquid form, which can be easier to use and you don't have to do any mixing or calculations. Or you can also get a product like the Lawn Gold Winter Protect, for example, which is a granular product, and you'd apply it similar to you would do as a granular fertiliser. Now, this particular product doesn't have any NP or K in it, but it's got slow release iron, around 6 and 7% slow release iron, with a 9% iron total content, and it also contains magnesium with added seaweed. You can apply this in a spreader, or actually peel back the packet and drop spread it. And the idea behind this is it's going to keep the moss at bay and the lawn green. My lawn's actually pretty good for moss control because I'm generally keeping it healthy. I'm a bit concerned about some of those bald spots we saw in the previous video, but that'll see. But you can see here from some of my borders, it's already starting to build up. I'm going to move to the front lawn to let you see how that's doing. It's actually looking really nice and healthy. I get a lot more sun on the front lawn, so you can see it's still pushing up some nice growth and it's nice and green. This is a super nice front lawn, and I'm really impressed with the renovations that I've done on it this year. Some of the things that I want to talk to you about on the front lawn include mushrooms or toadstools and worm casts. So if we get stuck into the turf here, you can see some mushrooms growing in the lawn, which you guys might be seeing as well. You don't need to worry about this at all. They're not harmful for the turf. You can just pull them out, chuck them in the bag and throw them in the bin. I've got these small little mushrooms and there's that much water in the turf and in the ground. They're just sort of disintegrated in my hands. Moving on to look at another issue that people are facing this time of year, which is worm casts. This particular one is nice and dry, and they will generally break up in your hand if they're dry and you can brush them off. But in my back lawn, where it's a little bit more wet, they do tend to clump, and you've got to watch out when using the mower, because when you roll over them, they're going to roll flat and kill off the turf. I've previously used a little afro comb to pick these out, but if you have got a bigger area or many casts, then you can blast them with the hose to try and disperse some of the mud. You also want to keep on top of some of the other debris on the lawn. For example, here's a bit of a branch that's fallen off that tree, and you can already see there it's just started to crowd out some of the light from the grass. Keeping on top of debris on the lawn is going to be really important to keep it thick and healthy. You can see here I've got some of the smaller leaves from these beech trees that are dropping onto the lawn, and a couple more casts. I'm going to pick those leaves up just by running the mower over the top. And whilst I might not take too much off the lawn, I'll keep on top of the debris. As we're coming to the end of the season, now's a great time to also keep on top of the mower maintenance. This electric mower doesn't really need much maintenance at all, other than keeping the deck clean and changing the blade. If you've got a petrol mower, you might want to consider some other maintenance at this time of year. You can see here, I'm only just literally taking the tops off the grass, and there's just as many leaves in the box as there is grass clippings. Underneath the mower deck, I've generally been keeping on top of the cleanliness throughout the season. This is going to increase the efficiency of the mower, keep it clean, because we all know this dry type of grass almost turns into a concrete and it's really difficult to clean off later. The other thing that you might want to have a little check about is the health of your blade. My blade's looking nice and sharp still. There isn't too many dints or chips in it. I only put it in at the start of this season, and I've been switching between this mower and my Allit, so it hasn't had as much wear as it normally does. But it might be a good opportunity to get yourself a new mower blade, or have a look at getting the one you've got sharpened. Let me know what jobs you guys are up to in the month of November. Drop me a comment in the description below. And if you've enjoyed this video and you like more lawn care content, please consider subscribing to my lawn care channel and checking out some of the other videos that I've recorded.